Legion Remix is one of the best ideas Blizzard have ever had, listening to player feedback from the PTR and from Mopped Remix, combined with Legion just being a great expansion, and Remix removing most of the flaws Legion did have back in the day. Combined, it creates a gameplay loop that I find addicting and wholly enjoyable. I have now felled Mythic Emerald Nightmare and Mythic Trial of Valor. The Xavier's shoulders are mine finally, and the Collectathon has truly gotten its tendrils in me. Blizzard have knocked it out of the park, with one glaring flaw. Hello everybody, it's your boy Jmulls, and we have a lot to talk about. Let's begin with, in my opinion, the best part of Legion Remix. The leveling. I adore Legion leveling. The zones are so visually diverse, combined with gripping stories in each of the zones. It had been a long time since I played through them because in retail, there's just not much point in doing it. For leveling, there's been plenty of other events to level characters, and for Chromie time, other expansions are just more efficient than Legion. So having an excuse to go back to these zones, meet up with my boy Runus one more time, or partaking in Sylvanas' machinations over in Stormheim, it's been fun, but also worth it because of how enjoyable the gameplay and progression loops of Remix are. After every quest, you get a loot box. No, not the Overwatch kind. The kind that actually spits out a random piece of loot that most of the time will be an item level upgrade for you. And with how quickly you can do quests in Legion because of how efficient everything is, you get a ton of loot, which combined with acquiring infinite power for your artifact tree, all the while getting talents for your class and spec, it makes the leveling journey super satisfying as you watch your characters start to explode in power as you get into the 30s and 40s. Calling in giant dreadlords for big AoE, or calling in swarms of animals, it's just satisfying, man. Especially in a mode that's supposed to be this power fantasy, that at least ramps up into being one like Remix is supposed to be. Not to mention getting the quest from Eternus help provide some structure and nudge you into doing certain pieces of content like dungeons or quests, or killing certain mobs, or trying out other artifact abilities and giving them a spin. Nothing takes too long, and it keeps the pace constant and the gameplay itself varied. In my opinion, it's brilliant design. Plus, the more infinite knowledge you get, and the more Eternus quests that you do, the more it helps your ults to acquire more infinite power and also more XP. So I always feel like I'm getting some kind of benefit out of whatever I'm doing, and I feel incentivized to partake in a whole lot of different elements of Legion, just for the achievements, which give me infinite knowledge, which can also raise my rates of acquiring infinite power that can dump into my artifacts. Like back in Miss Pandaria Remix, your first character will also be your slowest character to level and progress, and I quite like the pacing even on my first. I really do think they got the power acquisition down here, and this should be the blueprint for future remixes going forward. It doesn't feel too fast to where you blow through the content within a couple of hours, but it also doesn't feel overly slow either. For me, it is just right. Let's talk max level. Gearing slows down here as gear from regular chests caps out in the high 500s, but you're now acquiring shards, and when you fuse 10 of them together, you get a bit of raid gear that does scale according to how regular gear did while leveling. Again, very similar concept to leveling, just it's slower. And oh my god, your power can really start to climb here as you get infinite power and item level. I saw a guy pumping out over 60 million DPS in Mythic Emerald Nightmare. It wasn't even a crazy AoE situation either. And when I and many others in the raid inspected him, he was already almost item level 740. Dude, you can get exceptionally powerful in Legion Remix, and seeing that firsthand made me go, I want to do that. It's been so long since I've had that kind of feeling in World of Warcraft, let alone any other MMO. Every day, I can do Eternus quests, which don't take too long, bang out my raids for some more gear, infinite power, and to get something like the Xavier shoulders, which I've wanted for so long that have never dropped in retail. And then in between all of that, I'm trying to do all the questing Legion has to offer for more infinite knowledge. I also like the feeling that I can do all this endgame stuff on my main Demon Hunter, which is how I've wanted to play for this initial period. But if I want to, I can also just as easily make an ult and do some of the questing over there that I've yet to complete. And it'll also be lightning quick, because right now I'm sitting at about 132% additional XP for my ults, which will only make things faster as I do more and more Eternus quests. I'm not joking or exaggerating when I say this. Legion Remix is basically everything I wanted it to be so far. I haven't even touched Mythic Plus yet. That's one of the things I want to get started on as well, but that's the thing, I can approach it the way that I want to, and also when I want to, because we have so much time for this. It's such a breath of fresh air, in my opinion. Look, I get that some people won't like the time-gated release of Legion Remix, and I totally understand that, especially for the rewards from the vendors on the Infinite Island. It's like knowing the thing I want to get, knowing I can afford it, but I'm just not allowed to because we haven't hit the reset yet, and that smarts a bit. But at the same time, there's a big part of me that's kind of relieved because I don't feel rushed to get to the end of Legion's content as fast as humanly possible, and I can just take my time with each phase of Legion and appreciate all this expansion had to offer. Not everyone's going to want to play like that, but that's how I want to play like it, and the game's designed according to that, so I'm enjoying it. I get what I want out of each of these phases, and then the next phase comes around, and I get even more stuff to do and to add to the pile. And look, I've been a very outspoken critic of how Blizzard has handled time gating for retail WoW, but I think with the way that it's done for Legion Remix, I think that shows an example of time gating that can be beneficial to the experience, especially for a huge expansion like Legion, to allow each of those individual phases to have some time in the spotlight and to shine. Also, just so they don't feel irrelevant, and so everyone doesn't just like rush to August. Legion was a giant expansion, and there was a ton in there. And while I do kind of have the concern that maybe only the August patch will have a similar feeling to Phase 1, just because I can't imagine the phases for Nighthold and the Broken Shore will feel nearly as big as Phase 1 did, with, 5 zones to quest through, all the dungeons and 2 raids all in 1 week. But right now, I am happy with the pacing. Okay, I've teased you all long enough in this. What is the one big crippling flaw Legion Remix has? Well, it's old reliable for modern Blizzard. The servers just don't work. Bro, you want to play Legion Remix on heroic tier? Go to Suramar. I don't know what it is about that zone. I know there's a few farm spots there. Maybe that's it, but oh my god, the lag is outrageous. You know the type of lag the game can have when you're doing a world boss and there's a lot of people there? It's like that type of lag sometimes over an entire zone. It's atrocious. Not to mention how broken the servers were on like day 2 for NA or like day 1. Pretty much ever since this thing has come out. It's been kind of a 50-50 shot whether or not the game wants to work when you're playing it or not. And it's such a killjoy when you're really wanting to do something or you're really having fun with the product right now. And then all of a sudden, your buttons don't really work until 5 seconds after you press them, or it's so delayed and laggy that it's just not responsive and it feels so bad. Look, I get it. Managing servers, keeping them up, especially during the heavy traffic that I'm imagining Legion Remix has with the amount of people I've been seeing in this thing. I imagine it is difficult on the back end to handle all of that. They have to find some kind of better solution than whatever they're doing right now, because it is an immediate killjoy when I don't even want to go to like Suramar, which is where I probably should be right now, just because of the experience of playing in Suramar right now. It's so laggy and so unresponsive. And this is a frequent thing with modern Blizzard. Like, look at any patch release for the War Within, and there's been similar problems where the servers are just kind of broken. But this feels especially true for Legion Remix. Legion Remix is awesome. I want to make sure that's abundantly clear, and I feel like I've gone into why I think that well enough with this video. And I am not joking or exaggerating when I'm saying, one, I do prefer this to MoP Remix for a couple of reasons. I really disliked back in MoP how we had to pick between spending bronze on either player power or cosmetics. I absolutely hated that, and it made me kind of give up with it after a little bit. I don't get that problem here because they've actually learned their lesson. Legion Remix is so much dumb fun, and it's given me such a great excuse to go back and re-experience Legion again. I have no idea what expansion you do for a remix after this, though. It's like, I have no clue. Like, maybe Shadowlands, and it's like, yeah, Shadowlands sucked, but like with a remix, you can kind of remove most of the elements that made it suck and just focus on the questing, which was okay at best in my opinion. And like maybe Torghast in a remix style could be really good. Maybe. I would still love to see a Warlord to Draenor remix, especially if they want to be a bit more additive with that one and like maybe try to find a way to reintroduce some cut content for Warlord to Draenor. I feel like I'm just on pure copium with that one though. But even with a basic WoD, it could probably work. Maybe they could get like a BFA remix to work as well, because the way these remixes work, they remove like the most annoying elements of all these expansions. It's like the worst parts of Legion back in the day: legendary acquisition, grinding artifact power, and those freaking mobile game tabletop missions you had to do and wait for. Just like a non-factor here. Like, you're technically getting infinite power, right? But like, it feels way better to acquire here. And also in a far like shorter time span than a traditional expansion, the power progression feels so much better. Like, if this is gonna be how we end expansions going forward, and like at the end of each expansion we just do another remix for another expansion, I'm all in favor of that. It's so much fun. Gone are the days of these weird and long content droughts that we used to get at the end of each expansion. Blizzard have really worked out what to do, and it solved one of WoW's longest running problems. And if you want to see my thoughts as to how they actually did it, you should check out this video right here for more. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great day. Leave a like and subscribe if you liked the video and you want to see more content. I know I'd appreciate it. Bye bye, everybody. Until we meet again.